Hi, it's Akemi. This is Akemi Kai Inner Beauty, where I like to talk about law of assumption and inner work. Let's talk today about this. Sometimes I like to just take a Neville Goddard term and talk about it. Let's talk about checking the 3D. So checking the 3D, what's that about? That means like you've decided that you want to manifest something, so you're going to start persisting in your self-talk about the thing that you want to manifest. But then you keep checking the 3D to see if it's here yet. I mean, it's amusing, okay? We all do it. I think that's why it's amusing to talk about, because it can lead to incredible frustration. So let me explain what this means. So I try to make up examples. I always just use work, because I think most people out there, like I myself, have changed my work experience in my life into something that I enjoy, and I feel like I'm really well paid for my time, and I'm really happy. So I feel like it's something that I can talk about. Okay. So let me just think back to the days when I was not. Like, let me think back, like, because I had days where I used to, be in a 9-to-5 corporate job and stuff like that. And of course, that's not fulfilling for a lot of people to be doing that kind of mindless work. So a job is always a great example. So let's just say, like, let's say this office person or whatever is like getting up to an alarm clock every single morning that goes off too early and drags you out of bed. I remember when I made it, one of my things I wanted to change in my life, I was like, I want to never do that again. Like, I want to wake up in the morning naturally. I don't care what time it is. Like, I just want to go to sleep at night and then sleep as long or as short as is natural for me to wake up normally, like without an alarm clock. Like, I never want to ever use an alarm clock to wake up in the morning ever again. Like, that was something I hated. I felt like it created all this like pain and tension in my body. And I was just like, that's something I never want to do again. Like, one of my goals in life is to get to a place where I never have to do that again. And okay, so I've accomplished that, okay? So for years now, I have not had to wake up to an alarm clock. And every morning when I wake up naturally, I'm like, oh, I love this. Like, I finished whatever dream I was having. I woke up naturally. Sometimes it's like 5 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes it's 7:30. Sometimes it's 10:30. Like, who knows, right? Whatever amount of sleep my body needs. And then waking up and then being like, oh, I'm in my bed. It's so soft. It's so comfortable. I love waking up like this. And then I have this whole morning routine. And one of my goals was to have a morning routine, like to not be like jumping out of bed and like getting a shower and throwing on clothes and like running out of the house and like not having time for a morning routine. So like that was something I really wanted to manifest. So I've manifested that. I enjoy it every day. And I have a practice of doing gratitudes, like 10 to 15, just randomly. Like, I'll be like, in the morning when I get up, I like to do gratitude as well. Like, it can be anything, big or small. Just say 10 things that I'm really grateful for. And of course, it'll be like waking up without an alarm. But anyway, okay, so let's use that as an example. Okay, let's say that I want to manifest that. Like, I want to switch my job to like some kind of, I don't know what kind of work you want. You can fill in the blanks. You want to be doing something, say, where you just like, you start later in the day or something. You don't have to jump up early in the morning and rush to work without a morning routine. You don't have to set an alarm. Like, you don't have to do that. Okay, so let's say that's our example. And so you started affirming all the time, like when you're jogging or you're walking or you're commuting, or you're setting a time aside to meditate or lay on the couch and just focus on that, or as you're falling asleep at night, that's like a really good time to go over your manifestations. I have it built in. You can build in little tricks for yourself that are reminders. Like every time I see blah, 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 I'm going to say my affirmations about whatever I'm working on right now. So for me, I've assigned like angel numbers to mean certain things for me. So because I see them a lot. Okay. So like, I look at the clock and it says 111, or it says 444, or 333, or 222, or 555. I have assigned a meaning to that. So every time I see 555 on a clock somewhere, anywhere that it shows up, that's one of my reminders that I'm like, say your affirmations. And I also, every night when I'm falling asleep in bed, that's when, as I'm going to bed, as I'm going to sleep, I say my affirmations. So you can build in little tricks for yourself too, to, remind you to, like, every time I do this, it's a reminder to me to say my affirmations so that you're doing it frequently, right? And so that would be like, you do affirmations by living in the end. Okay. So living in the end means you use your imagination to imagine your future self that has the thing that you want, is living in the changed state that you want to experience. And you just imagine, there's different techniques. There's things like, imagine you're talking to a friend on the phone or in a cafe. You just went out for lunch and you haven't seen them in a while, and you're telling them about the state you're in now. So you would talk like that. You would be like, oh, I remember when I used to have to get up in the morning to an alarm. And I'm so glad I don't have to do that anymore. I really enjoy waking up naturally. When the light is coming into the windows, when I'm in bed, I'm woken up naturally at the sunrise, or the sunshine coming in wakes me up naturally. I love that feeling of just waking up naturally, slowly in my bed, how comfortable I feel, how happy I feel, how relaxed I feel, and how I can just come downstairs and just do my morning routine, and there's no pressure on me. Like, you just talk it out, okay? So that's what affirming sounds like. It doesn't sound like, I don't have to wake up to an alarm. I don't have to wake up to an alarm. I don't have to wake up. Like, don't make it like that. Make it like it has to be the feeling. Use your imagination to feel how it would feel for you to have switched your working situation to one in which you do not have to wake up in the morning by an alarm. Okay. Or whatever. It could be anything that you don't like that brings a lot of misery into your day. Like the morning commute on the subway at the time that you go, it's like a brutal time of day. It's this really unpleasant experience. Or the traffic at the time of day when you have to drive somewhere, it's a really unpleasant experience for you, and you want to change that. So it can be anything like that you use for this example that I'm doing. So the way that you affirm is like that. Oh, I'm so glad. Oh, I remember when I had to do that, and now I don't have to do it anymore. Okay, so what's happening is you're beginning to affirm these things before you've received it, right? I mean, at the time when I decided I didn't want to wake up to an alarm and stuff, I was waking up to an alarm, right? And I had a job that was draining my energy, and I was working really long days, and I was like wishing, like, I wish I had more free time. I wish I had more of my time to do other things in life other than that, So that's why we're talking about the checking the 3D, is because at the time when you decide you want to switch something, you're still in the experience you're not liking, right? So this is where it comes, where say you start saying this and you're practicing this, and every time you see some number on the clock or out in public or on your phone or whatever, you've trained yourself to do your affirming. Oh, I feel so glad. I'm so happy that I have a job that I love, that I don't have to wake up early in the morning with an alarm. But you're still waking up early with an alarm, right? So then you might have those times when the alarm goes off and you like jump up and you feel awful and you're like, I hate this. I hate waking up every morning to an alarm. So that's when your manifestation that you're trying to shift your reality to is coming into clash with your current 3D, right? Because it takes some time for it to shift, because you're generating it from inside. So this is what's called checking the 3D. Like, I'm still having to get up with an alarm or whatever, what you need to do is be mindful how you manage that experience so that you're not negatively affirming for what you don't want to keep experiencing. Okay, I'm having an issue with my battery. I need to pause this for a second. Be patient with me, please. Okay, I'm having some technical issues, so I'm just going to finish this plugged in. Okay, so you need to be mindful of how you manage that time when you're in between, okay? Because what you want to do is you want to minimize getting into any kind of a state of like intense frustration and like raging about what you don't like that's showing up in your 3D, because that's powerful manifesting, right? When you're like generating like a very strong emotional state about something and you're saying what you don't like, that's actually affirming, right? It's negatively affirming. So we don't want to do that. So especially because then you're going back and forth, right? Like it's a form of wavering, because then you're like affirming, oh, I'm so grateful that I have this. I'm laughing because I do this sometimes and I catch myself doing it. Sometimes you'll be like, I feel so grateful that I don't have to wake up with an alarm, blah, blah, blah. But then the alarm goes off the next morning and you're like, fuck, and you throw yourself into a panic and a frenzy and you're reacting directly to the stimulus of the 3D and you're getting yourself into a very agitated state. And then you realize, I don't want to pour my energy into that, right? Because I'm generating my reality. So I really need to train myself to pour my energy into generating the version of reality that I want to experience. So that's where the self-training comes in, right? So that's when people talk about checking the 3D. Don't get frustrated that your manifestation hasn't shown up yet and start getting into a negative state where you're bashing your 3D. One of the tricks that I heard somebody use one time, and I do it, I love it. I just remind myself, because you'll get triggered, right? But something shows up that you don't like, and it's the opposite of what you've been affirming for. And it even, by the way, it even happens when things start to shift. You can comment if this has happened to you, but when you play with this more, my personal experience, and I've heard other people talk about it too, is they say that reality will start to kind of shift around you as it reorganizes itself to match the thing that you're persistently trying to hold strong to manifest, right? If you hold strong enough, reality will start reorganizing itself around you. Then things you might start noticing, weird stuff pop up in the 3D, weird things happen. And that is a sign that it's working, okay? Because that's a sign that your reality, which seems so static, we were taught that it's so static, it's starting to shift. It's starting to reorganize itself. So that is a sign you should persist more. Okay? And one of the tricks, you can try this, is to remind yourself if something pops up that you don't like, or you get triggered by something that is the opposite of what you're manifesting for, you can just remind yourself, that's old. That's old. That's how I used to think. That's not it anymore. So it can be a little bit challenging. That is where you'll hear people say, like, you're just being Delulu, or you want to be Delulu, like Delulu is the Salulu. Sometimes people say. It can feel a little bit like that because you're really trying to retrain your mindset to understand, like, I'm generating reality. I'm generating my reality, and what I persist in will eventually catch up and become the new reality, right? And I have to tell you, like, in my case, like, it literally was, like, really out of the blue. Like, I kept persisting in that reality, but at the same time, like, things in my 3D were happening. Like, you have to deal with your life, right? So, like, I was working in a job that was really draining my energy. I was getting a lot of injuries from some of the things I was doing at work that were not, like, they were hard on my body. And I was getting injuries. I was wearing out. I was like, I can't keep doing this, you know? And so then I went ahead and, like, was dealing with the circumstances that were happening in the 3D. So I ended up, like, whatever details, but I got laid off. I looked for another job in the interim. I had a plan, right? I was like, I've got to keep doing this while I keep manifesting what I want, and don't touch your 3D lightly. I heard this Shaolin monk talk about, I love this too, don't make ripples in the water. Like, be careful how much weight, how much emotional investment and stuff like that you put into actions in the 3D, because it will create ripples in the water, right? I think that's a helpful way to think about this too. Touch the 3D lightly when you're going about your day-to-day, while pouring your investment into what you really want to experience. Okay? So I literally was taking care of the weird stuff that was going on, and it started shifting around me. Okay, I got laid off from that job, and then I was like, well, I got to pay rent, and I don't know what, so, and what I was doing, you had to get up for an alarm and work 9 to 7 p.m. or whatever. So I was like, well, I'll just find something for the summer, and I'll keep looking, and take care of that. And I did that, and I literally was in the next job for like 2 months for the summer, and was carrying out my plan for, like, how to manage my 3D whatever stuff to be able to pay my bills, right? Just going, like, handling it as it had to be handled, but keep persisting in what you want. I literally, like, got through the bump, had a temporary position for a summer, got into the more full-time kind of position that I was trying to replace the first one with, was still tired and burning out and still focusing on this transition that I wanted, when I literally got a call one day and was like, hi, you met us through blah, blah, blah. And we're looking for someone, and we'd like to, offer you a position, blah, blah, blah. And it turned out to be, I instantly said yes, because it was very out of the ordinary and it felt like really different. And I agreed to meet with them, blah, blah, blah. And I ended up taking that. And that was the position that changed the whole pattern of the kind of work I was in, the kind of jobs I was in, the kind of hours I was working, the kind of, So it can be difficult to deal with the 3D. 3D just means material reality that's around you at the moment that looks very real. It's very convincing that it's solid, okay? But the more that you practice this and push with your faith, it's faith, right? It's not just willpower. It's like a form of, like, emotional investment. Like you're emotionally investing, you're investing your feeling states and your beliefs that you in the thing that you want to experience, and then handling your 3D lightly while you wait for this thing to show up. And it could show up who knows how, because the matrix is creative. It's all creation, right? So it can come in a way that you didn't expect. It could be an opportunity you're not necessarily scanning for. So you got to be in this state of being kind of flexible and touching life with a like softer, lighter hand. Does that make sense? Tell me what you think. Write it below in the comments if you've had any experiences with this. Have you played with it? Have you practiced it? Have you manifested anything small or large playing with this? What happened for you? Did you notice an interim state where reality started to shift around you and some different things happened? Have you had weird things pop up that were the opposite of what you were manifesting for? How did you handle it? Have you been stuck wavering before, going back and forth between being really mad about what you don't like and then it's like clashing and it's not coming for a long time because you're doing that? Like, tell me what you have had happen with this yourself, because it's kind of an interesting adventure, and I think we all have like very unique experiences as we're trying to shift aspects of our reality. Okay, talk to you next time.